Hi everybody, Anna K. Morris here with a quick coaching video for you. Um, this is a really personal story, as a lot of them are, but this one more than anything, because I have been journaling for a really long time. You know that by now, 15 years. And I want to go back to before that. I'm 44, so there was most of my life that I didn't journal. And it was always something that, like, not only did I not do it, but I really despised it. I hated it, actually. I thought it was kind of pathetic that you would have to journal. Like, can't you just know yourself and figure things out? Which is hilarious because I totally didn't know myself or was in touch with myself at all. Was so busy doing what I thought I should be doing, what I thought other people wanted me to do, what other people told me I would be good at, what other people suggested, I would never say forced on me, but I just never really took a moment to think about, what do I want, right? I was, so I don't know if that makes me a people pleaser as much as I just was, going through the motions, really, going through the motions and without any tools, really didn't have any tools to figure myself out. And I had a very long-term relationship in my 20s for 5 years, 23 or 24 to 28, 29. So the majority of my 20s. And I had toyed around with journaling, right? And this is a piece of the coaching advice that I want to give you in this video, is that whatever you are hating, despising, resisting, it can be different versions of that. For me, it was like this disdain that I had for journaling. It was actually the thing. It's usually whatever you really, really, really think is stupid or you're resisting, is usually the thing that will unlock your whole life. That's what I find time and time and time again. So let me tell you the story. So I started dating this really wonderful guy, and we went out, on, I don't know, he lived in England. We met when he was traveling. And I remember at that time, I must have been toying around with journaling. And I journaled that I was afraid that he could never be what I needed emotionally. That he could never go to the emotional places that I knew I needed. And this is the interesting part, and no fault of his own, everybody's on their own journey. And then I closed the journal and I never opened it again. And we dated for 4 years and then had a 1-year breakup, so call it 5 in total. And when I was moving out of my apartment that, he always kept his own place, but we essentially, were mostly we were a lot of the times at my place. And when I was leaving it, because it felt like a ghost lived in it, if you've gone through a breakup where you've been in a place with somebody, I don't know if you can relate to that, but for me, I couldn't live there anymore. And I should go on to say that we have become very, very, very good friends. He's one of my favorite people in the whole world. And I found that journal when I was packing everything up. And I opened it and I read that page. And that was exactly why we broke up. But it took me 5 years. And I say this because this is why I teach journaling. And it's why I've had a stomach bug for the last 3 days. I've been literally in bed, which is why I look like this. And I've still journaled. There's one thing that I've done every single day. Today I actually showered. It was nothing short of a miracle. But on Sunday I journaled. On Monday I journaled. Today I journaled. It took me until 4:30, but I did it. Because here's the thing. I knew in my gut that we weren't the right match, that we were an emotional mismatch as much as we loved each other. Like I knew. And I wrote that. And then I closed it and said journaling was stupid. And that's when I have people tell me. They'll say they don't have time. They'll say it doesn't matter. They'll say they meditate. They'll say, do I have to do this? Does it have to be, 3 pages? And my answer to all of that is like, what kind of a life do you want? Like, I want a life that I look back on and I'm like, I didn't miss anything. I didn't miss out on anything that I wanted to do. And I was fully present for all the pieces of my life. Like I have 2 really young kids right now. And I am so proud of the fact that like I am present. Now, not for the past few days because I've been really sick, but for the most part, like I've taken a lot of other things out because I know the season of my life is going really fast and I don't want to miss it. And a lot of that comes, not a lot of that, it all comes from showing up to the page and writing about it and reminding myself every single morning that they will not be 3 in 1 forever, that I'm going to miss the patter of the way their feet feel in our house, or their laughter, or even their crying, right? Of their little voices tingling around, the house, of the constant, like, kind of chaos that is our house right now. They're actually being quiet, which is amazing. So I say all of this because whatever you like have been resisting it, and specifically if it comes to journaling, because I am offering my How to Journal class. It's not starting until January, so it's going to start January 1st, but I am taking 10 people to help me curate it. So I'm going to ask you a few questions every Thursday just to make sure that I'm going to create the class of your dreams come January. So I've got 6 people signed up. I have 4 more spots. I'm going to close it Wednesday night. It's Tuesday right now, so I'm going to close it Wednesday night. That's October 25th. And then I'll start with some feedback from you on Thursday, the 26th. I think that's the right date, whatever it is. It's going to be $199 if you don't do the first 10, but it's $99 if you do the first 10. And if you want extra support, there's a Support Plus group. It's $200 more. And you'll get even more support come January. So it could be $99 or it could be $299, depending on what you want, which is really interesting because people have mostly been signing up for the Support Plus. So the $299 seems to be what people want, which is interesting for me to see. I've never done a class like this, and journaling has just changed my whole life. Like I have my kids because of it. I have my husband because of it. Like I never thought I would get married. I never thought I would have kids. I never thought I would travel around the world the way that we did for 3 years without working. Like all of the things, all of the magic. I never thought I would have a design build company. Like I had wanted to be an interior designer my whole childhood, but I had never let myself really take a look at what I wanted. So then there I was, like late 30s, wondering, okay, now we're done traveling around the world. What am I going to do? And Derek had always wanted to be an architect, and I had always wanted to be an interior designer. And the reason that I knew all of that and was so clear about what the next step was because I spent 3 pages every single morning journaling. And it's not just like writing your stupid to-do list. Not that it's not helpful and valuable, like that can be a part of it, but like I really go to places that in your ordinary day you don't go. I write about things of depth and meaning and that oftentimes I don't like, but I find that being willing to look at the scary things, look at the worst case scenario, look at all of the things that don't feel good for me, I'm able to unravel it. I'm able to dream bigger. I'm able to say, does it have to stay that way? Could I make some small changes? It's why I stopped drinking for this year. It feels so good just because I feel more like me. And that's all I want. When I think about journaling, it just occurred to me today, actually, that like journaling is home. So for 3 years, we didn't have a home. We just traveled permanently. We had a couple of storage units. So my journal had to become my home. And then it's funny that we went off and created a home build company, because while having a beautiful home is a big part of all of our lives, whether it's a home or an apartment or whatever that looks like, just use your own word for it. I find that the greatest home is within myself. And the home that I can always come back to is right here. And that happens on the pages. So I have 4 spots left. I would love to have you. If you have any questions, please let me know. But please, you don't have to journal something and then close it and then find it 5 years later or never. Right? It just doesn't have to be like that. It's just far less scary if you look at yourself in the face and say, this isn't working. Okay. If it's not working, then now what? And you just start taking small, right steps. Small actions lead to a profound shift in your life. I can promise you that. I've been in bed for 2 days, and the house was quiet, and it brought me back to, after this relationship ended, I moved up to Spanish Harlem, and I had this, window where I'd overlook the city and write in my journal. And I remember being profoundly alone. All I wished was at the time for a boyfriend and a dog. Didn't know that I would have 2 kids or literally the man of my dreams. But I just remember thinking, am I going to have to do this alone forever? And the answer was maybe, because the universe always writes true to me. And it said, you might, if you don't make some changes. So what are the things that aren't feeling good for you? And I just started doing the work, but the number one thing was that I fell in love with myself. And it was only on those pages that I started to fall in love with me. And when I fell in love with me, then all of the magic started shifting around me. Then there was somebody that fell in love with me who was a match, who was what and where I needed at the time in my life. And like Derek and I are constantly growing and we're constantly changing, and we might not be doing it at the same time, but we know to give each other space and to support one another, which is all that I ever wanted in a relationship. So I'm babbling now. You can sign up. It's annakmorris.com/first10, the number 10. So first, FIRST 10. If you want to be one of those last 4 people, I'd love to have you. Okay.